Okay, busy week in Philadelphia. We got the Detroit Lions coming up, but really we have a little bit more drama in regards to A.J. Brown and this football team as the latest news is that he was on a Twitch stream with a buddy of his and started making comments about the offense, calling it a shit show and saying that, like, hey, if you have me in fantasy, you need to get rid of me, which is a little heartbreaking because I have him in fantasy football and I don't have the heart to get rid of A.J. Brown, nor do I have the heart to put him on my bench. He's too excellent of a player. So, yeah, I have been struggling, albeit I have a winning record, but that's neither here nor there. Let me digress. Point being is A.J. Brown's frustrated. And because of the frustration, and he hasn't been shy about it over the past, not even just this season, over the past 2 seasons, even in winning a Super Bowl, you saw a little bit of a frustrated season by A.J. Brown, although I think people overblew. I think it was a little overblown in that sense, right? He clarified his comments recently in a locker room press conference, and I highly recommend anybody to go out there and listen to that whole press conference because I think it offers really good context of his position, number one, and number two, why he's so important to this football team and how great of a player he actually is and how great of a leader he actually is. I think people dismiss A.J. Brown a little too much and think he's a little bit of a Looney Tune and think he's a little bit of a diva wide receiver when I don't see that at all. He could do a hell of a lot worse. He could be a hell of a lot more frustrated and really let people know about it in a very, very destructive way if he really wanted to. But ultimately, I think his heart is in the right place, number one. I think number two, he actually loves to win. But he also knows what it takes to win on a consistent level because ever since he's gotten here, that's what we have done. And I know you're going to say since Jalen and Sirianni and all that, he's part of it too. Okay? Once he stepped in this building, we've had a level of success along with Hurts, along with Sirianni, along with all these other players that we've had in this locker room, of success that we have never had in franchise history. He is 100% a catalyst for that too. So I just want to preference the whole discussion here about being very careful about saying, let's just trade A.J. Brown. Get him off the team. He keeps bitching and whining and complaining. He needs to shut the hell up because we just won a Super Bowl. You're 7-2. What more could you possibly want? What you want is to dominate. What you want is not to leave meat on the bone. Not only do you want to win, not only do you want to walk into opponents' houses and beat them, you want to beat the drum and say, we're going to bust your ass, and you are going to like it. And no matter what you do, you can't stop not only us, you can't stop me. Anybody who's played a sport before, anybody who's played any form of competition or been a part of any form of competition, you understand that at a very, very deep level. You know, like, hey, not only do you just want to win, but you want to prove and you want to show the best you have. That's the goal. That's what and again, when people ripped his comment about him saying, yeah, the Super Bowl was nice, but that's not what gets me going, I don't think people are truly understanding exactly what he meant. Because if you deep down analyzed yourself, you would ultimately agree with A.J. Brown. Again, unless if you're a quarterback, a GM, an owner, a coach, a little bit of a different discussion, a little bit of a different category. But anybody else, you look at it and you got to say to yourself, I put my heart and soul in this, and it yielded the best results it possibly could. That's what brings the joy out of accomplishing something so difficult. All the work that you put in something, and you see the fruits of your labor and you see the rewards. And it's not just of winning, but pride in your own work. And being able, and this is particularly in sports, looking across that line, looking across the opponent and saying, against your will, you cannot stop me. Because I'm going to bust your ass and I'm going to freaking beat it into you until you recognize. And even when you recognize, I'm going to keep putting it down more and more and more and more and more and pummel you until that clock hits 0. And then you're going to go home at night thinking about how I busted your ass. That's the goal when you're a superstar player. And A.J. Brown is a superstar player. And this team is filled with a lot of star players. They all have that mentality, even the quarterback. And we're going to get to that in just a moment. And we're going to get into some of the comments and the frustrations and listen to some section of that press conference by A.J. Brown, because I think it's a constructive thing and it leads to a bigger conversation about the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we do that, let's introduce you to the show. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm your host, Asif Badi, and like you, I am a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here, help grow this channel organically by shooting this video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts in the comment section below, and subscribing to the channel. Also, check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave a 5-star review, because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to go ahead and hit that big button that says subscribe. We thank you for your support on the opposite side of the camera, on the opposite side of the airwaves. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to pull up a section or a part of the A.J. Brown press conference at his locker. We'll all take a listen together. The listening audience can take a look. This video was from E.J. Smith's profile on X. Okay, so I don't want to take credit for this. This is his clip. I did repost it on X and I did make a comment on it, but let's hear a little bit more about A.J. Brown's position in regards to not only his comments on the Twitch stream, but on the frustrations of his offense.
It's not just solely about my situation. I mean, guys, like, obviously I want to win too, and I think if we're really focusing on winning and doing our job, like, we can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over the defense doing their job and getting us out of trouble. At what point are we going to pick up our slack as an offense that we're so great, and that's what I'm getting at. It's not about we're not winning or I don't care about winning. All I care about is stats. No, it's been week after week. Sometimes we're not contributing. We're not doing our job on offense. So you can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over that. And if you expect to win late in the year, you think you're going to go to it at the end of the year. It's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And last year, what it was, thank you for the ring, but it's a new season. They adapted. We have to adapt, and we have to continue to, get better and try to find new ways. So that's where the frustration comes in, because it's not about winning, you guys. I want to win. Yes. I want to help contribute as well. Do our thing on offense as well. I think that's fair.
Do you feel like you're misunderstood in that? I
don't care if I'm misunderstood. I stand up in front of it and fall on that sword over and over again. It's about doing what we're supposed to be doing on offense. And if we are really in this business, we're trying to get better, we got to do what we got to do. And not just say, oh, it's about wins. So as long as we got the win, it's cool. No, that ain't. No, you cannot do that. Not in this league. We got to continue to get better. We got to do what we have to do on offense to help the defense, to help the special team.
Two more guys. About the ball coming your way. You said you don't know why, but if you look at the film, we don't know what Jalen's directive is on the other play, but there were obvious examples where you were wide open and the ball wasn't coming to you. Is that related to whether you're the first read, or is that he's not throwing the ball again?
I don't think that's the case at all. I think certain players have different reads. Despite what it looks like when somebody takes a screenshot, and you can't go off that. But he has certain reads. He has a lot going on in his head that he's trying to process, and then also he has pressure in his face. So, like I said, I don't know. That maybe it's a question for him or KP. So.
AJ, with the last one, folks, with the stream, you described it as venting to your friend.
I didn't.
I'm sorry. So I'm hearing from back here, so you said you're talking to your friend.
Yeah.
So it's been a very public setting. Why are you comfortable in speaking that way? Did you think about that? Because obviously we end up in a space talking to you. Just curious why, curious how you think about that.
Because after the game, I said all the right answers. I still made a story, right? In that moment where I'm just talking to my friend, having fun with my friend, I'm not apologizing for that. Like I said, because if you have eyes, you can see that. And so, it's not that I was throwing anybody on the bus. I'm literally trying to laugh through this shit. This shit is tough. But I'm trying to make fun of the situation and to try to get through it. So, it is what it is, man.
All right.
That is A.J. Brown and his comments regarding the offense and the overall situation. The things that, I think you got to look at when he says things like offense has got to help pick up the slack. They're not doing their job. The defense is doing their job. You got to help out the special teams. You got to help out the defense. And, overall, basically, he's saying that, I want to contribute to the winning. We have a team here. Again, now I'm paraphrasing and I'm kind of diving in a little bit more of a deeper analysis on what he said. We have a team here that has all this talent and we're not utilizing it. And then it goes back to the post where it says, using me but not using me. After that Vikings game where he had the 4 catches, $122 touchdowns. And I know people are going to say, hey, he had 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's still bitching? What's up with that? He's just a diva, cares about his numbers. Go watch that game. Besides one play, that last touchdown seam, and the play where he had the bomb on the sideline where he ended up pulling his hammy, tell me a play that was actually ran for him. And even then, that last play, I don't even think was ran for him. That seam was a play where Jalen threw a really great ball. It was a really good timing on it. Looked up, the ball was there, scored a touchdown. But the first touchdown that he had was a fucking broken play. He was covered on an out, a very conservative 7-8 yard out on a 4th down. And then after that, Jalen had all the time in the world from the offensive line. They executed well. He told him to go up the field, bang, touchdown. That's not a play you draw up. That's a broken play. When you needed a big throw on 3rd down, Jalen Hurts had to roll out to the right in the 4th quarter when we needed a really, really important drive. Hits him on a 3rd and 13 on the sideline, a comeback. These are not plays you're drawing up specifically for A.J. Brown. You're just saying, hey, if you're open, we're going to chuck it to you, and Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown go make it happen. There's no creativity here. That's where that post of the using me but not using me came about. And then when you see the frustration here on his Twitch stream where he says, hey, this offense is a shit show. If you got me in fantasy, get rid of me. I'm struggling here in this offense. It's because when you watch this offense, it's consistently underperforming. It's underwhelming. And he gave you a little bit more insight too. I believe he doesn't think it's the quarterback. I know there's been a lot of tension with Jalen and AJ and storylines about that. But just remember, he is the godfather to the man's child. Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown, I mean. There is still a personal relationship there that I think is beyond football. However, there is a frustration professionally, and whether you could say it's that he hates being a receiver for Jalen Hurts, maybe you're right, but maybe he just hates the philosophy of this offense. The other thing that I hear in this conversation regarding A.J. Brown, not only is that he's a diva and that, he should be traded, which is stupid, by the way. Eventually it'll end up happening, but it'll be a damn mistake. They look at the quarterback, and there's a segment of the population, a good chunk, that believes Jalen Hurts is the problem. And that because of his inability to be a consistent pocket passer, you're not able to utilize the weapons on this offense, and thus you have the ebbs and flows and the inconsistencies going up and down in this football team. And while I don't disagree that he's not the best pocket passer, he's not a timing guy. That's not his bread and butter. That's not what he does. He's a playmaker. He's a gamer. That's what he does. He goes out and makes plays when there's not a lot going on, rolling out, buying time with his legs, and then making a big throw when you need it, when a play has nothing available. You could say that about Jalen, but people then believe that the guy's incompetent. To that, I will ask everybody this, who says that, like, if you put Tanner McKee, or any other pocket thrower, this offense would hum. Let's just say you put Tanner McKee in, and he's throwing the ball well. The second he throws an interception, what will Nick Sirianni and his philosophy and this coaching staff do? What's the one thing they're going to do? Because we saw it against the Packers. When Jalen Hurts had the quarterback draw called, great call, by the way, got the first down, and a great play by the defender, Edgerrin Cooper, punched it out, fumble in the red zone. After that drive, you saw the scared, conservative, mundane, simple offense. That's what you saw. After that one fumble, which then gives insight to the philosophy that I think A.J. Brown in particular is talking about when he's talking about his frustrations in this offense, where he says, I want to contribute more. And if you listen to that press conference, I highly recommend you listen to it. He talks more about, like, hey, finding ways to get a guy like me open would be helpful to this offense because I can help get this offense going. You know, we as an offense are not picking up the slack. We need to contribute to be able to dominate other players, other opponents. That's how you can win games consistently. He even said, yeah, the Super Bowl's great, but that's in the past. This is now. Teams have adjusted. You have to adjust. And they haven't. Again, back to the discussion point where I said if you put Tanner in, the offense may look different. Sure. It will not change the philosophy of Nick Sirianni. It will not change the philosophy of Kevin Patullo. The second you have a turnover, they're going to go back to their conservative, risk-averse offense. No matter who's the quarterback, no matter who's the receiver, no matter who's out there. That's what they believe has won them so many games. And to their credit, it's won them a lot of football games. I mean, everybody tells me the numbers of Jalen Hurts. The guy has what? 20 touchdowns, 1 interception, like all, you know what I mean? Like he's on pace to have statistically one of the best touchdowns to interception ratios we've ever seen in the risk-averse offense. Because in the end, Nick Sirianni said it himself in his own press conference, winning the turnover battle is going to win you games. That's the number one thing we do. Win the turnover battle. And then explosive plays. Those are the metrics that you need to have to win football games. That's their philosophy. And if winning the turnover margin and winning the turnover battle means I got to run it inside zone in the same gap 20 to 30 times and wait for the other team to make a mistake just so I could squeak by a victory, that's what we're going to do because that wins us football games. And A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all these other guys, I don't think are passively built like that. And Jalen Hurts, I don't think is passively built like that either. So anyone who says the guy's incompetent or tells me that he can't run a professional offense, I would just say every time they go ahead and give him the opportunity to go out and throw it and open the book a little bit more, he generally performs well. He generally moves the ball. He generally gets the ball downfield. And I'm not just talking about the Super Bowl. I'm not talking about just the NFC title game. Because look, he's had big games and great moments. He's also had bad games and playoff games. Understood. I'm not taking that away from anybody. Again, we know he's a limited pocket quarterback. We know he's not the greatest quarterback ever. But I'll be damned to say the guy's incompetent. I'll be damned to say the guy doesn't belong at the NFL level throwing the ball. I'll be damned to say the guy's garbage. I don't think he's garbage. I don't think he even likes this conservative approach to the offense, but it's winning football games. And that's ultimately what drives Jalen Hurts, because that's his path to the Hall of Fame. That's his path to having a legacy. It's not necessarily the path for guys like AJ and everybody else, but they want to win as well. Sirianni wants to win football games by any means necessary. That's the disconnect. That's where the discrepancy lies. That's where the frustration is, ladies and gentlemen. The frustration is not only between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, because I think Jalen Hurts in this scenario with Sirianni, Hurts, AJ Brown being a representative of the guys in the locker room. Remember, AJ Brown is beloved in this locker room, more so than even Jalen Hurts. They love AJ Brown. They know what he represents. They know how great, and I mean great, how freaking great he is of a player. They know it. Jalen Hurts is the guy in this situation here that they all believe can bridge the gap between what the players want versus what Sirianni's doing. Jalen Hurts is the guy that can close that gap. And this is where he has to take accountability in this situation. And the press conferences that he's talking about where he says, oh, really, it's all about the collective. And, the more we try to give life to the distraction that's going on with the controversy of the frustration with AJ Brown and the rest of this off, it breeds life into something that doesn't have to be there. We get it. We know you want to win ball games, but you know what? Call a spade a spade. The offense stinks and you're at the helm of it. And I don't think it's your fault. You certainly haven't helped the matter, but I don't think it's necessarily 100% your fault there, brother. Nick Sirianni, we've seen it in 23 where we've had incompetent offenses. In 24, after being turnover in the first 4 weeks in 2024, you went to running the ball, being risk averse, taking less chances, and it ultimately led you to the Super Bowl because you had the number one defense, and we get that in a historic running game, all that jazz. What the rest of the locker room is saying with AJ Brown, and now he's not shying away from it because now the trade deadline's over. And maybe he knows the writing's on the wall with his time in Philadelphia. And he's probably tried to express frustrations to the front office and the coaching staff and anybody who can listen, but none of them want to do or change a damn thing. The only time they change their damn philosophy is when they're down big or when they get public pressure from the media. And you saw it not only against the Rams, you saw it against the Buccaneers. You saw it against the Minnesota Vikings after they got shellacked by the Giants. In that Rams game, they were down 3-4 scores. Threw the ball all over the yard, came back, won the game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they wanted to prove that they could just throw the ball against Todd Bowles' defense. They ended up doing that and starting off the game basically 24 or 21-3. After the shellacking in after the shellacking against the New York Giants, the whole conversation was Jalen Hurts deserves to be benched. This offense fucking stinks. Get rid of Kevin Patullo. What the hell is this offense even doing with this collection of talent? And what did he end up doing? calling his best game of the year, Jalen Hurts having a perfect passer rating, A.J. Brown getting 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Devontae Smith having a career day. That's what that offense is capable of. The more you apply public pressure to this organization, because that's the one thing that they fucking care about. They care about their perception. The more you apply this pressure to them, the more they're going to respond and really try to mitigate it. And I think A.J. Brown understands that now more so than ever. And he's trying to maybe nudge Jalen and say, bro, you're the guy that can fix this now. I'm expressing my frustrations here. I'm telling everybody in every which way I can that we're struggling. And it's falling on deaf ears. And it's going to continue to fall on deaf ears until this team loses games. Once you have a string of losing, that's when things will get addressed. Winning masks everything. And A.J. Brown even said it. Just because we're winning games doesn't mean there aren't issues. He's 100% correct. His press conference today, he's 100% correct. This is why he's so valuable. This is why he's so great. This is why you can't trade this man. This is why he's so important to your culture and winning. This football team needs A.J. Brown. And I said it earlier before the trade deadline. This team this year needs A.J. Brown to win ball games. You're not winning without this guy. You're barely squeaking by right now with him being on the field and not even getting the ball. People point to the Giant game and saying, look at what Jalen did without A.J. Brown. That's one of the worst secondaries we have in the NFL. It's a bad football team. They had 4th, 5th, 6th string cornerbacks back there. And then you're going to look at the Minnesota game where, again, they were more aggressive. Open the playbook a little bit more. Brian Flores also contributed by playing an inexplicable freaking defense against Jalen Hurts. The one thing you can't do is blitz him, and that's all he did. Again, I'm going on this rant. I'm going on this tirade, and I'm saying A.J. Brown's right. This offensive struggle shouldn't be the case. The offense needs to start picking up the slack here. And I made a comment on a video, and people are going to think I'm crazy for saying it. But I'm going to say it anyway because I think it makes logical sense in the long run. And you're going to hear it, and you're going to be like, dude, this makes no sense. Anyways, let's just say right now we continue the season the way we are. Playing this style of offense and winning games the way we are in a very, we just got through it this way. We're just getting by in a very sleazy way. You know, we're just kind of coasting through and just, you know, getting through it. Would you rather be 14-3 with that approach and then get into the playoffs and just hope that maybe, just maybe you catch lightning in a bottle with the offense? Or would you rather say, hey, let's open up this fucking playbook a little bit more. Let's get these guys' confidence up by chucking the ball around a little bit. Maybe it results in a few more turnovers, and thus you lose a game here and there. Maybe you lose a shootout against the Lions. Maybe you lose a game on the back end of the season, maybe against the Bills or the Cowboys or something like that, where you're chucking the ball, but you get outscored here or there. But then you go into the playoffs with an offense that says, hey, I know if there's a shootout here, we could go bang for bang, shot for shot here with this guy, with the Rams team, a Bucs team, a Seahawks team in the NFC. And now that you have the defense who played like they did against Green Bay, they're probably not going to lose shootouts if they get into one because there's going to be no shootout. Would you rather be 12-4 with that team, or would you rather be 14-3 with this bullshit offense? Again, you're going to call me crazy, but I'd rather be the 12-4 team that's got balance on the offense, balance on defense, and is playing with confidence. Right now, if the playoffs started today, yes, we'd have the 1 seed, but who's playing like the best team in the NFC right now? It's the Seahawks, it's the Rams, it's the Lions, and then the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just truth. And yeah, we beat a majority of the guys in the NFC, but A.J. Brown's saying like, hey, this ain't going to cut it. It's not going to win against great teams. You have great players on this offense. We got to showcase that. We got to get them the ball. And I'm one of them. Get me the ball. Get Devontae the ball on a consistent level. And I think Jalen Hurts wants to open up the playbook, but he's winning games. And the coaching staff and this organization have beat it into his head. Winning games is the only thing that matters for you, and stats don't matter. You heard it in the press conference with Nick Sirianni. You heard it in the press conference with Jalen Hurts. Not caring about numbers, not caring about stats. Ultimately, the result and the process and being detail-oriented is what ultimately wins games. Not turning the ball over. Defense wins championships. All that, all the cliches you can throw out there. A.J. Brown saying, nah, fuck that. You got to be aggressive. We got dogs here, and you got to let them loose. You can't just turn it on in the playoffs. That's not how this works. In football, it does not work like that. You can't just flip a switch in the playoffs. It's not how that happens. Because you have to have an identity. And the identity of this team right now, it's very, for lack of a better phrase, it just seems sleazy. Like we're just getting by winning these games. We're taking the hardest route possible to win these games. And that's frustrating. Not only just as a player, I can only imagine what it's like to be a player in this offense, but it's frustrating as a fan to watch. You can't sit here and say, I feel good. We're 7-2. We're going to win it. You got no running game. The passing game's inconsistent. The play calling's inconsistent and putrid. You can't find a way to get your best receiver the football. And your offensive line is in and out with injuries. But yeah, all's good. All's good with the offense. The offense is perfect. Fuck the numbers. 7-2. I don't get it. I don't get it. Again, I think ultimately it's the philosophy of the coaching staff. I don't think it's the players. I think the players are just trying to do their job. And they're doing it at a decent level, enough to the point where you win 7 out of 9 games. But it ain't sustainable. You know there's a better output that can be had with this team. And people think it's because Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. I think it's because he's being put in a box as this coaching staff is constructing this offense for him. Let the man loose. Let him prove that he fucking stinks at football and can't run a professional offense, or reap the rewards by opening up the offense. I guarantee if you do it, you're going to see much more consistent results. I've seen it with Doug Peterson and Jalen Hurts, where he looked like a professional quarterback. I've seen it with Shane Steichen. I've seen it at times with Brian Johnson, where he just let him throw the ball a little bit more. We saw it in big games in the playoffs with Kellen Moore and this. Like we've seen it time and time again. When you give him the opportunity, or as Jalen Hurts says it, let me out of my straitjacket, you get good outputs. That's what you need to do here. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this, at least for right now. I went on a little bit of a ramble, and it took the conversation a different way. But A.J. Brown's right. The offense is not running properly, and it's not going to be sustainable for winning. They're not doing their part. That's the hard, frustrating part about the conversation, because they know deep down they all can do more. and they're not being allowed to. That's the worst part. You gotta let the handcuffs loose, Nick Sirianni, because I think your philosophy, while it's led to victories, it's leading to an ultimate divide that's going to occur in this locker room. That's the disconnect. And because Jalen is so concerned about winning games, and ultimately that's what you're doing, he's not bridging the gap. It's going to lead to a breaking point. And maybe, just maybe, this Detroit Lions game will bring out a level of aggression that's necessary and an output that can yield better results down the line. Or you keep adopting this conservative mindset and you keep adopting the risk-adverse play calling against Dan Campbell and this Detroit Lions team, who at the beginning of the offseason circled this game on the calendar. Amon-Ra St. Brown said, we want them. We want to prove that we're the team in the NFC, that we're the top dogs. That's a game Detroit's ready for. Philadelphia better come ready to play. I know the stars and the players will be ready to play because they ain't afraid. However, is Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo and this coaching staff afraid? That's the big question. I lean towards yes. They might be scared because that's how they coach. And this is the phrase that every Eagles channel's throwing out there now. They're coaching these games not to lose as opposed to going out and winning the ball game. So Sirianni, the organization, again, fans, let me know if you agree with me or not. Coach not to lose, but coach to win the game. That's what you got to do. When Nick Sirianni shaved his head to go bald, what did he do? He started being braggadocious again. It was infectious. It brought out the dogs in some of the players a little bit because he was more authentic to who he is. As a coach, he is supposed to embody the team. That's what this football team's supposed. That's what football teams do. You take on the personality and you embody the head coach. The Lions embody Dan Campbell. LaFleur and the Packers. Well, again, maybe it's not good, but they embody LaFleur. The Niners embody Shanahan, clever, tough. Run style. McVay. The Rams embody McVay. The Chiefs embody Reed. Clever, smart, composed, unfazed. Steichen with the Colts. They embody Steichen's personality. You see it. There's a personality difference here on this football team. And while it's yielded results, you're going to come to a breaking point, like I mentioned before, in the Detroit Lions game might be that breaking point where either you're going to get your ass kicked and get blown out, or you answer the bell. A.J. Brown's frustration is that the coaching staff and maybe even the quarterback's not going to be able to answer the bell because they're being put in handcuffs. Let the chains loose. Let the dogs roam free. Because if you do that, can guarantee you this. Once the Eagles start rolling, ain't nobody going to beat them. Not in this conference, not this season. So you got to have a decision to make, Nick Sirianni. Are you going to let the boys loose and you're going to let them play and you're going to open up the playbook and be aggressive and take the risk of maybe losing a game here and there? Or are you going to sit back and let the other team dictate the pace of the game? Let them be the ones to say, this is what we're going to do. And you're just going to be the Eagles and say, okay, we're going to wait in the weeds until you make a mistake. And then we're going to, just get by the win. It's bullshit. That's my thoughts on that. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. A little bit of a long-winded episode. I apologize for that. But that's my mindset here. I think this philosophy of risk averse, while it's won a lot of games, it's going to do more damage than good because you got too many dogs on this team. And that's where the frustration is with A.J. Brown. And it's why he's 100% correct. It's why he should be on this football team. It's why he's a leader on this football team. It's why he's excellent and great and the best wide receiver we've ever had in franchise history. And he deserves all the accolades and praise, not the requests of him being traded or him being told to shut the fuck up and quit being a baby and quit being a diva, because he's none of those things. He's a great player who wants greatness out of this offense, who wants greatness out of this team. And the only way to achieve it this year is to get this guy the damn football. If you do that, you're gonna win a lot of fucking games. It's obvious to everybody else, but not obvious to this coaching staff. And that's ultimately where everyone's frustration lies, including A.J. Brown.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.